Hello, YouTube. This is Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard. Back again. I'm feeling a little better today than I was yesterday, so that's good. If I keep feeling better at this pace, I may be back to normal pretty soon. So, now that I personally have experienced what I've been listening to the whole world talk about, which is COVID, I have a different perspective on what I believe is happening to the world and what I believe the um, what sorry, the biomatrix. What I believe that the biomatrix is designed to do and what we need to do to fight against it. And coincidentally and thankfully enough, it turns out that we've already got it. I've already created the technology, at least for myself, or synthesized the technology, at least for myself, to combat what I believe is the design of all of this, and that happens to be the lightning Qigong. As I said before, I didn't really know why I was supposed to bring this knowledge to the world. It has been kept secret for some time. It has not been widely publicly disseminated. This stuff here that I practiced, I was told I wasn't allowed to share that with anybody, put it on video, any of that stuff. And I really felt a strong impetus to make it available to people. And now I understand more than ever. As I shared, was it yesterday? As I shared with you yesterday, what I experienced the most when I was sick with COVID was I felt tremendous grief, sadness, hopelessness, and that's just not me. As you know, that's not how I function. I'm always taking full responsibility and looking for how to get my highest, greatest happiness and joy out of this world, and I don't let anything get in the way of that. And I found myself a few days in a row just being really hopeless and miserable and all of that, and it felt like it was coming from the virus itself. So I believe that when you've released something onto the world, as this has been released, that the entire world, every single person in the world, not only that, but you've got a society that is constantly being reminded, the whole idea of masks, that does not promote people feeling good. I mean, even recently, as I've worn my mask to protect others as I go out to get stuff, um, people can't see me smile. If they talk to me, they lots of times I won't verbally say anything, but I'll smile or you'll be able to see in my expression what I'm thinking. But, if you got this thing over your face, people can't tell what you're thinking and what you're feeling. There's no way to go out into public with a bunch of people wearing masks, especially the ones that are recommended, which are the ones that look like you're in a hospital. There's no way to go out in public seeing that and not feel threatened, not feel uncomfortable and frightened and paranoid. There's no way to go out in public with that and not feel the need to stay away from people. Don't talk to them. Don't get near them. Um, I just became aware. So much stuff is just sneaking in. What's happening during this pandemic is that the powers that be are sneaking in all kinds of new legislation, and we're not really aware of it. Number one, because we don't have a news system that gives us the news. We don't have that. We have a propaganda machine that spits out propaganda we're supposed to listen to. So all of the real news, the things that are really happening, we never hear about. And one of them is that college students are now not only having to be vaccinated for COVID, they have to also get vaccinated for the flu. I mean, you can't go to college if you don't have a vaccine for the flu and for COVID. And they're introducing all kinds of things. And I was reading this thing about, somebody was telling their kids, if your kids are going to college, you're going to need to vaccinate them, and listing all of these diseases you're going to have to vaccinate your college age kids for. And then going because in college you can have a lot of diseases spreading, and it's creating such fear. It's just, what kind of world are we creating here? So what we need is we need more than ever, we need a heart-centered experience. We need an authentic, heart-centered, emotional experience. And by emotional, I don't mean just responding, reacting to things emotionally. I mean emotionally driven things coming from your passion, your inspiration, these kinds of things. And that, as it turns out, is what I created this for. The Warrior 90-Day Challenge was to give people practices so that they could operate from their soul and let their soul guide them towards what they wanted. But we're coming into this new age where we have this biomatrix where people aren't going to be able to do anything, especially, they've set it up now for kids going into college that, you're going to be completely uploaded. Every aspect of your life, they're going to have every aspect of your health history, your vaccination history, and again, these have been used and can be used to prevent you from having access to things. So just in order to be able to function, people are going to have to upload themselves to the matrix. And I'm starting to think, I talk a lot about education, and unfortunately we have a lack of education in the world, but the education that is coming down the pike has been so filtered and watered down and so controlled that, if I had kids, I don't know that I would want to send them off to college, because, the indoctrination that's happening and the misinformation that is being spread in universities now. Universities are not the place they were in the 60s and 70s, where you went to college and that was where you learned all of the dangerous information that went, against the establishment. Now, anyway, you already know, you understand what I'm talking about. So, thinking about the kind of world that we want to create, we have shifted into a new reality. And it hasn't been determined yet what's going to happen with this new reality, because right now we're in the final pushes of the corporatocracy, who is seeking to completely, totally dominate and control every single aspect of your existence. And they are pushed, as I said, I mean, college kids now have to get vaccinated for all kinds of crazy stuff just to be able to go to school. And anyway, it's time to completely rewrite our world. We gotta start over from scratch. We gotta get rid of all of it and create it all over again from scratch. And I believe that this has to be done from the heart. And so we have the Maoshan technologies, which allow us to create a connection, a very powerful spiritual connection from the heart mind, or the lightning center of the heart. Like Dr. Manhattan here, it's time for us to completely empower ourselves. And when, having, this ever, since I've had COVID, which has been almost 2 weeks now, I haven't been able to do a whole heck of a lot. And the feeling that I've had of being energetically disconnected, that's part of the feeling that I experienced, was being energetically disconnected from the universe. And again, I felt that was part of the design of all of this, to be energetically disconnected. So what I've found is this heart-mind energy that we use in this Maoshan tradition. The heart-mind energy that we use gives us the ability, more so than any other tradition I've ever seen. It gives us the ability to tap directly into the intuition of the universe. It gives us an ability to communicate directly to the ascended masters, to the ancestors, to the universe itself. And I think that is the most powerful tool that we have. And so we have to fight to get that and to keep it, because the forces that have already been unleashed on the world are seeking to completely disconnect you from your own soul, but also from the universe at large. And we are meant to be in union with that. Our shamanic ancestors, who lived in a dynamic interaction between the spiritual and the physical. I mean, you think about how hunter-gatherers lived. They didn't have anything. They didn't own anything. They just and they didn't store anything. They didn't go kill 800 buffalo and then stuff them in freezers somewhere. They lived each day. Each day gave them what they needed. And if they needed to move somewhere in order to find different or better resources, they listened to their instincts. I can remember, this is probably more true now than ever, but I can remember people saying, this was a while ago, that when you used to look at a map, when you actually had like maps that you unfolded, remember those? I remember hearing a couple of different women say that they thought north was up because it was this arrow that went to the top of the page. So they didn't even know what north was. And that up until very recently, people who lived in, I can't remember where it was, but people who lived a shamanic lifestyle, if you put them somewhere and closed all the doors so they couldn't see where they were and turned them around, they would be able to feel where east was. They would be able to align themselves towards the eastern direction. They had the ability within themselves to stay connected to the magnetic field of the earth. And that is just symbolic. And we're so disconnected from all of that. And I mean, it hasn't impacted us. I don't even think people have really even had the chance to be impacted by the pandemic. I mean, I on one of my other platforms, on one of my first videos, I went I broke down how many vials of vaccine have been given to people. And when you think about billions of people having had one of these little bottles injected in them, at least one. When you think about, never in the history, ever in the history of the world, has there ever been a push to get absolutely every single person on the planet, including infants and children, to all take this same medical procedure. Never has that ever happened. And why isn't everybody in the whole world bald like me from pulling their hair out going, oh my God, what the hell are we doing? This is crazy. Why isn't that happening? People haven't even had the ability to wake up to just imagine the scope of it. And as I said before, because people are so wrapped up in their own personal thing and their own fear of whatever, you're not seeing for instance, ever since the election, there has been more and more legislation passed that prohibits public expression. And it's not just Democrats, it's also Republicans. Even here in Florida, the Republican governor here has passed legislation not allowing people to protest in public. It's just slowly eating away so that there is no individuality left in the world. That's where we're headed, if we're not there already. I mean, this is one of the few places in the world that I'm able to, at the moment, to be, able to be unvaccinated and freely go about, living my life. You can't do that in a bunch of other states. In some countries, you're not even allowed to exist if you're unvaccinated. So I really want I personally am going to really start going deeper and deeper into this heart-centered, lightning-centered mindset. Because I think if we don't create a new universe now, it's going to be created for us. And I'd like to believe that some of the things I've been hearing from Vedic astrologers is going to be true, that we are at right now in the beginnings of revolution that will, that people are going to start waking up and creating a shift. I personally have yet to see anything of any significance, but I lead a pretty isolated life. So if you have questions about the heart center, if you have questions about how to connect directly to the ancestors, if you have questions about how to increase your intuition, if you have questions about how to be a critical thinker and be educated without actually going into now the new university, educational system that's actually seeking to just turn people into mindless drones, I'd be happy to answer any of those questions. So I'll go ahead and take a look. I saw that my friend Agent of the Universe, you've been on my channel how long? And how many times have I said to you, wait until I'm done talking before you answer the question? It was 20 minutes. I had just set it up. It was a half an hour early. And you had to come on and ask. But I'm gonna read your question, but you might not like my answer. Agent of the Universe question. I have and again, look at the title of the video. It's about creating a heart-centered universe. And what is it that you ask me? I have a feeling, you say, COVID is preparing us for the real pandemic that is hidden inside the Arctic ice caps. What are your thoughts? Basically, he says, unlike COVID, the real virus hidden within the Arctic is something that will level the population worse than COVID, and humanity as a whole will be even more caught off guard. Where are you getting this stuff? I mean, it's, you're just pulling this out of your rear end, right? Your paranoid delusions are going off, and you're getting off. Let's just be clear. You're getting off on the idea of this, this end of the world scenario. Now, I'm not saying we don't already have something pretty close to that, but at least stay within what you know to be true. I mean, why under the Arctic ice caps? Why not under Mount Vesuvius? Why not under the ocean? I mean, why does it have to be under the Arctic ice caps? It's like, come on, Agent of the Universe, seriously. You have a good mind. You have critical thinking. I've taught you how to do that. You are doing the 90-day challenge. This is just nonsense. You can put better use to your time than that. It makes me want to ask you if you're seeing your therapist. It sounds like a complete delusion. Sounds like you're off in total delusion loony land. So what are my thoughts? I don't think that there's anything to that. Obviously, it's just your thought. You're not even getting it from anywhere. You're just having this thought that maybe this and maybe that. And maybe my cat is Dr. Evil in disguise. Thundra Staves Rangel says, hello, Mahadeva. You can go to her website, thundra.thunderwizard.com, and get a reading from her. Let's see. Agent of the Universe, again, you do annoy me because I don't enjoy talking about the negative stuff that I see. I don't get off on it. As you know, I spent a lot of time talking people out of conspiracy theories, which I've come to accept. But I can tell you do get off on it. And you look for reasons like you want to be in a bar with some guy smoking a cigarette and we're just going to start talking about, yeah, damn kids these days. You say college used to be useful for education. Now it's a scam meant to make people debt slaves. It's always been that way. Nothing new about that. College has made people debt slaves for many generations. There's nothing new about that. Demo, if you have a question, you can see Agent of the Universe wrote the word question in all caps. That's so I can see it. If you're new to the channel, if I can't see what you've written, I can't respond to your question. I want to respond to your question, so write the word question in all caps, and then I will respond to it. Otherwise, I'm probably going to just pass right by. Wait, here's some spam. I want to get rid of the spam here. I don't even think they realize that doesn't work, but let's get rid of that spam. All right. Let's see. William Wallace. Okay, no. Let's demo. Do you think we need to head to the Holy Grail? What does that mean? Welcome to the channel. The best way to get the use out of my channel is to watch my videos, know what it is that I teach. I love it when people have educated questions having to do with things that I talk about and things that I teach. I have no idea what any of that means. To the Holy Grail? Head to the Holy Grail. You know what the Holy Grail is? It's a mythical cup. So what do you mean we have to go to? Where is there a place called the Holy Grail? What is this? Come on. Welcome to my channel. Spend some time watching. Have an actual question based on something I teach. I'll be happy to answer it for you. Okay, let's see here. Oh, there's another. Hang on, there's another spam bot I need to get rid of. Okay, Lushka question, laugh out loud. That doesn't sound like a question to me. And you didn't spell it in all caps. You guys should know better. Lushka question, all caps, please. Have you read Rudolf Steiner's work from 19... Okay, so the other thing I don't like is this kind of question. Mentioning how a vaccine will be developed in the future to rid the spiritual senses of man. Fascinating stuff. I have not, but I have heard of it. It's very interesting. Robert Seaman again. Question in all caps, otherwise I'll miss it. Would a group meditation focused intent on heart chakra benefit the world? Of course it would. Concentrated energy released into the world be a catalyst for positive? Of course. Zeralath, honest feeling. I struggle with wanting society to collapse for being so awful and holding hope I can help it. What? You struggle with wanting society to collapse and holding hope you can help it. Is that the same thought, like you want it to collapse so that then you can help it? Or are you saying you want it to collapse and now that you think about it, you hope instead you can help it? Anyway, it's an honest feeling, so I can't have a question about it. What is anyway? Arjuna question. Mahadeva, what do you think about the idea that incarnation is a trap? How long have you been on my channel? These kinds of questions annoy me because it's obvious you haven't watched a lot of my videos. I have videos on this. What do you think I think about it? What do you think I think about any belief system that a spiritual belief system that says that? Why don't you answer? Why don't you tell me what you think I think about it? You've been on my channel long enough. You should know the answer to that. Judy White, question. I have your book, Thunder Shamanism, and in the shamanic journeying to the 9 worlds, should I do only 1 world every day or all 9 daily? It's completely up to you. Completely up to you. Follow your instincts. And do whatever works best for you. Chan's the Nemeton Shriner. Apparently some church in Ethiopia claims to have the Holy Grail. Well, I know Chan's is just letting me know what the other person, obviously the new person on my channel, because if they had spent any time on my channel, they would know that I believe that Christianity is the biggest con job ever unleashed on the world. So of course I don't believe that there's any Holy Grail. And why would that mean anything? A cup that even if we assume some holy divine person drank out of it, why would going somewhere where a cup was of something, I mean, are we also going to go and find a toothpick, maybe, some toilet paper he used? I mean, it's just such a ridiculous thought process. We're going to go and sit next, I know, Chan's, you're not saying that, but yeah, come on. Give me a break already. What else? Glee's question. Dear Mahadeva, I started doing the Hul breath. You wrote Hulu. Maybe it didn't, the auto spell. The Hul breath, I think is what you meant to say. I started doing the Hul breath, but every time I try, I start hyperventilating. How is it you're hyperventilating when you're doing the Hul breath? That should not be happening at all. When you do the Hul breath, in fact, you inhale, and then you exhale out the nose and the mouth so slowly that you can do it both at the same time, and no noise is coming out, even though you're thinking internally the word Hul. How does that create hyperventilation? I mean, that's an honest question. I don't understand how that's possible. Is that you're releasing the breath so slowly that you're panicking? I can't understand why that would create that. Any tips? I mean, I would go back and watch the video again and follow my instructions precisely, because I don't think there's any possible way to hyperventilate if you're doing it properly. So there must be something I'm missing. Agent of the Universe question. How do I best go into the white light fearlessly without doubts? What white light are we talking about? Are you planning on dying soon? Because when people die, they see a white light. And how do you go into it fearlessly? How do you do anything fearlessly? I can't tell you how to not have fear, because a feeling is just a feeling. So what you do in this life, because this is all you have, is this life. What you do in this life is you take fearless action towards what you know your soul wants. Not you work yourself up into feeling good so you can then take action on what you feel comfortable with. That's not how we do this. My ancestors said that those who die in battle go to Valhalla. It didn't say those who can convince themselves that they are full of self-empowerment and feel good about themselves and are self-confident. No, you can feel anything you want. You can feel like a total, complete, utter screw up, and you can be crapping your pants as long as you take action. If you take action towards what you want, you will be rewarded. So if we're talking about when you say the white light, if you mean after you pass away from this world, then if you've practiced living fearlessly in the body, then when you're there, you will have that same habit and you'll see that white light. And assuming that it frightens you, it didn't frighten me when I saw it. If it frightens you, then you're going to remember and you're going to go, oh, I just have to go into it. I don't have to feel comfortable about it. But I don't think it'll be what you expect. I've seen it. I've seen the white light. And it was absolutely blissful. It was the most blissful, orgasmic experience. It was more real than anything I've ever experienced. This was when I was 7 years old. I left my body when I was 7 and I went into that light. So I think everybody, has their, I think everybody can feel. I think people aren't afraid of it because it's evil. If people are afraid of it, it's because it's just too intense, too intensely wonderful. Anyway, I don't know. Everybody's different, but that's my suggestion for you. Lushka, question Mahadeva. Can you expand on how the heart relates to the human psychology, Kundalini, and what exactly the difference is between the three selves, 7 chakras? So Lushka, kind of hurting my feelings here. I've done numerous videos on this. You've been on the channel a lot. So it makes me want to ask you if you know how to search my channel for search words. So everybody, I was going to make a video on this because I was getting a lot of comments of people asking me things, like one person asking me, where can I find out information on Kundalini? Another person, came on and said, do you have any suggestions for books about Orlog and, Nordic spirituality? And I'm like, hello? How many books have I written on those subjects? So Lushka, if you have a laptop like I do, then you can go onto YouTube and just type into the top of YouTube Thunder Wizard, and then my thunderwizard.com, thunderwizard.com YouTube page will come up. On that page, if you're on a laptop, you'll scroll down and you'll see a menu, videos, about, and then you will see a magnifying glass. You click on that magnifying glass and it will open up another search bar. Type in Kundalini, type in chakras. I can't even tell you how many hours of video there is of me explaining it in detail over and over and over again. So everybody besides Lushka, if you're new to my channel and you're wondering what I've got and you want to know what I teach, you can go and do that. There's also, you can go and look at the playlists and you'll see Kundalini on the playlists. So you shouldn't have to ask me these kinds of questions, general questions like this, if you've been on my channel for a while. And, I created this channel for myself, the way I would want if I was out there looking for information. This is what I do. If I find a channel that I like, I know how to do that. I will go and I will look on their channel for their playlists. I will search within their channel for keywords to see all the stuff that they teach about various subjects. And that is called research. And that's just something that I do anyway. If I want to figure something out, I get kind of confused when people ask me how to research, but part of it is just I'm so driven to learn something that I will I'll do whatever the hell it takes to figure out what to do to find out about it. So I recommend everybody do that on my channel if you haven't, because there's so many videos, so much information, and you owe it to yourself. This is not, as you can tell, people come on and want to have just basic, superficial, ask, how do I open my third eye kind of garbage questions. That's not what I do here. I really want educated people. I want to educate you. I want you to be able to have a deep, profound experience. So that's not what I'm talking about today. And what you've asked is a 6-hour lecture to how the heart relates to human psychology, Kundalini, what exactly the difference is between the 3 selves and the chakras in relation to the heart. That's 6 hours at least of me going into incredible detail. So I don't think I'll be able to pull that off today. But if you haven't already watched all those videos, go and watch them, and hopefully that will answer some of your questions. It's a great question. I just, anyway. Agent of the Universe question, part 2 also is does the white light appear only after passing or at any time we're ready? What do you think? Has there ever been a time when you're walking around and a white light appears? So just use your common sense. What do you think? Zerlath, clarify. The 2020 event challenged my faith in mankind. The 2020 event? Well, I don't know what that means. Do you mean the pandemic? I used to want to heal all people. Now I feel like I'm building my own enemies if I do. I don't understand that. So Zerlath, that's got me concerned. Like, it makes me want to ask you if you need to go see a therapist. That's like, I'm very isolated in my life, and I have to change that. I'm in a brand new place. I don't know anything or anybody. I've been holed away in this little house, sick with COVID. So I'm going bonkers. I really need to get out, start meeting people and making friends. But it makes me think that you are like me. You feel like you're building your own enemies if you heal people. I don't understand what that means. How are you creating enemies by healing people? There's a paranoia about it that seems very unhealthy to me. So maybe I'm missing something. Glee's question continued. Yes, I do the whole breath exactly as you instructed, but the slower I breathe, the more uncomfortable. That's what I said. So you're panicking. The more uncomfortable I feel and I can't catch my breath. Maybe I'm missing something. I start panicking. Yeah, well, that's it. You're panicking. The idea of catching your breath, right? That's when somebody's out of breath, like they've been running, and they can't catch their breath, meaning they're not getting any oxygen. So the whole breath doesn't take away your oxygen. To get the air to come out slowly, first you're going to inhale, right? So that means you're going to inhale, you're going to get plenty of oxygen. So this has nothing to do with you catching your breath. This has everything to do with you probably not being in control. Because when you do the whole breath, I immediately go into a trance. I let go of everything and I go into this deep trance. So you probably have a fear of letting go. It makes me want to ask you, are you one of those people that doesn't like to drink alcohol because you don't like to be out of control? You don't like to take, you know, cold medication because you don't like feeling out of control? That's what it makes me think. So the only thing I can tell you is that you, again, as I was saying earlier, feelings are just feelings. You take fearless action regardless of your feelings. If you don't want to do the whole breath, then don't. That's totally okay. I don't require anybody, and there isn't like this isn't a religion where if you don't do a certain thing you're going to burn in hell. It's just one tool. Let me give you an example. There's plenty of breath meditations you can do where you can get a lot of energy. And for instance, if we want to go in the opposite direction, you could do. There's all kinds of breath signatures. For instance, you could inhale in 8 sniffs and then hold for 8 seconds and then exhale for 8 sniffs. For instance, it would be like this. That way you wouldn't have to worry about, flipping out because you're exhaling so slowly you feel like you're dying. You would be in control. You would be doing something where you had to control what you did, so that way it would give you a feeling of control, and you could still get a lot of the benefits of pranayama, of breath work. So if you don't want to do the whole breath, there's plenty of other stuff. I teach tons of other things. Let's see what else. I apologize if my question is weird. Your question isn't weird. You don't need to apologize. You haven't done anything wrong. That's your experience. No, but I can't judge you for your experience. Chan's the Nematon Shriner question. Does Thor's hammer in the Thor's hammer Qigong stimulate the heart mind? Yes. Everything I teach stimulates the heart mind. And what is the heart mind? Lightning. The lightning power is in the heart. And what is Thor's hammer? Lightning. Agent of the Universe, honest feeling. I ask about light because I feel isolated, afraid, and sometimes angry. It brings me to tears on the inside, and I feel like I'm losing myself and it's tearing me apart. The feeling you described about the light feels beyond beautiful, and it makes me want to go into it because I feel broken. I appreciate your honest feeling, and I have nothing to add to that. It makes sense why you'd be asking those questions. But yeah, instead of trying to fix it, trying to fix the feelings, just have them. Having them is okay. Arjuna question. Arjuna is like you've retracted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So did you get it right this time? Arjuna question regarding this life as a game. Okay, did I say that? Have I called this? I guess I've called it a video game, so maybe I did say it. I got to be honest, this doesn't sound like a question. I already feel like I'm being manipulated. I already feel like I'm being led into something. And I tend to get very skittish when I think somebody's trying to lead me towards their conclusion. And that's how I feel. I haven't even got into the question yet. Let's see. Regarding this life as a game, the adaptation mechanism you described for children to survive cold, brutal parents. What was that? I don't remember that. an adaptation mechanism described for children to survive cold. Oh, okay. I thought you were describing that I was giving advice for how children could. Okay, no, I never did that. So again, this is. See, here's the thing. There's a lot of thinking. There's already. See, here's the thing. If you're thinking, it means you're avoiding your feelings. So this is why I'm already having difficulty with this question, because I can feel that you're not in your feelings, and there's a lot of thinking going on, and so it's making me uncomfortable. Okay, regarding this life as a game, the adaptation mechanism you described for children to survive cold, brutal parents, how is affirming this cold, brutal realm different in your eyes? I don't know what you're asking me. How is affirming this cold, brutal realm different? What different from what? I don't understand the question. And how am I affirming cold, brutal realm? This again, it's so clear. Your projection is so clear. And I encourage you to talk about your feelings, not about the world or the realm. Talking about this world as a cold, brutal place is different than saying I feel alone and unloved. That's totally different, and that's really what you're talking about. And again, I feel like you're pushing me into some corner and you're shoving down my throat that I've said that we need to affirm this cold, brutal world. I've never talked like that. I've never said anything like that. There are things happening in society. The corporatocracy and what they are seeking to bring onto the world is cold and brutal. But the world itself, the earth herself, life force energy that surrounds us, the trees, the birds, the animals, the ancestors, the sky, the ocean, your own heart, your own energy. These are all beautiful, loving, positive things that are constantly, continuously giving you loving, positive things. You may not feel connected to them, but that's different. And then you say again, I feel like I'm being attacked here. I feel like you're shoving me in a corner, and you say why why is one thing this and one thing that? You said this and you said that. And why don't you just talk about how you feel? Why are you so hostile towards me? Like I'm forcing you to accept and love how alone and unloved and unseen you feel. If you talk about your feelings, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to isolate you. But everything you're saying, you're trying to push me into this corner. I mean, listen, how would you feel if you were on the other end of this? Why is one Stockholm syndrome in your eyes adoption to abusive parents, but not the other, adoption to an abusive? I mean, what are you trying to get from me with that kind of attitude? Why am I your enemy? What did I do? Especially today, what is it that I'm talking about? I'm talking about redefining our universe after COVID. And I'm talking about opening up our heart and being authentic. I'm talking about ways to be more emotionally available and connected to ourselves and to each other. And you're accusing me of forcing you to accept and love this Stockholm syndrome, as you put it. I mean, where's this coming from? Look, you're in a lot of pain. So stay with the feelings. You'd be better off writing honest feeling and sharing your feelings than trying to make me out to be some bad guy that I'm not. You know, what is it you want from me? You want me to say, yeah, you're absolutely right. This world is a horrible, evil, empty, cruel place, and you are absolutely right. You should be president. What is it you want from me? How does this help you? This doesn't help you. So I offer you an invitation to try a reset here. And now you're arguing with me again. Yes, you did say that. So now, I mean, where are we supposed to go from here? Now I'm your enemy. And now you've made me feel defensive. I don't feel comfortable with you. I feel attacked. I feel judged. I feel like you've said, told me that I've said things that I don't remember ever saying or certainly feeling. You've made it really clear you don't like what I'm saying, so why are you even watching my channel? I mean, seriously, why are you even here? So why don't you try this again? Instead of coming at this with so much intellectual disconnect from your feelings, instead of coming at it with so much enemy mindset, why don't you try sharing an honest feeling? Talk about how alone you feel. Talk about how afraid you are, how unseen and unloved you feel. I feel all those things. And we can try it again. Otherwise, I just don't see why you're even on my channel and why I should interact with you. You don't make me feel good. You make me feel like shit. You make me feel like I'm an asshole. And I am making your life worse because I'm telling you to do these horrible things that I don't ever remember saying. So what would you do if you were me? So I'll give you one more chance. Try not being such an abusive person, and we'll try it again. All right. Don't talk to me about my other channel. If you wanted to ask me questions on my other channel, you could do that. But even then, you would have to come at me with a much different attitude. You really need to work on your communication skills. You're very off-putting. There's nothing in your communication that has made me feel in any way a desire to connect with you, to help you. I've felt nothing but judgment from you. And I'm sorry that life has been that painful for you, that's the only way that you know how to interact with people. But I strongly recommend maybe look into getting some counseling, get some help, so that you can learn how to communicate with people without pushing them away and making them feel, so abused. So try again. All right. What else? Zeralath. Clarify too. Why are you clarifying? Let's go back to what Zeralath said. So I must have asked him, why is he saying something or other? Zeralath. The 2020 event challenged my faith in mankind. All right. So because so many people choose to support jab mandates, I feel like I need to stay out of cities and live off the land. Now people have made me cynical. I don't know what that has to do with healing people, turning them into enemies. I hear what you're saying. Again, because I'm so isolated, I don't have to deal with it that much. And the people that I do have in my life, they're almost completely all, anti-jab. So I feel like I have a lot of people that I know that are the same as me. So, but I understand, because the times that I have tried to connect with some of my old friends, it's been really quite. I mean, the level of judgment and condescension is just unbelievable. It's like these are people, these are my friends, these are people I grew up with, and they're treating me like garbage because I choose not to get an experimental medical procedure. What's going on with the world? So I understand what you're saying, um, but we do need to have compassion. What else can we have? We have to have compassion for them. If for nothing else, there is a real possibility that this is going to backfire. I think we're beginning to see that. I can't get into too much specifics on this channel, but um, this could backfire on the majority of the Western world, and you know, um, we need to have compassion for them, just like we would want them to have compassion on us. So, I understand what you're talking about. I'm not really gonna try and change your mind about it, but in terms of there is a disconnect in that you went from wanting to heal people to now they're my enemy. And it's not that I don't understand. It's just I'm not ready to go there yet. I want to keep educating, and I want to keep doing what I can to create more healing and more compassion. That's just what we need. And I'll keep teaching. What else? Arjuna, you're right, but that is different. So you're really quite, you're projecting. You say, I'm sorry, but you said that our soul wanted to experience this realm for learning. Right. That's not the same as saying that I believe that, that I want to, somehow I want to, Stockholm syndrome. You're projecting your pain onto what I said. Because here's the point of that. And I guess what you're saying is you don't like the fact that I'm not co-signing or that you don't feel as though I'm supporting you in your feelings of victimhood. I don't know what happened to you as a kid. I have no reason to believe that you didn't. I was brutalized as a kid by my brother, and I was all kinds of other weird, crappy things happened from my parents as a kid. So I can understand that. But and this is, again, Arjuna, if you're coming from my other channel, you know what that other channel was about. And you know that I just recently stopped making videos on that channel because nobody was doing the work to heal. And so I'm willing to bet you haven't either. And if you want to heal from the abuse that you've experienced, and you want to drop the victim mentality, then I already talked about that in doing the 4 things. So if you haven't done the 4 things, then again, I'm going to have an experience of life that you won't have. And would you like to have that? Would you like to be free of that pain? Because if you want to be a victim, you can. You can certainly focus on being victimized. And you can certainly focus, if that makes you feel somehow powerful. Because if you weren't seen as a kid, and you were victimized as a kid, and you want your voice to be heard, that damage was done to you. How long do you need to keep screaming, I'm a victim, until it's okay? It's never going to be enough. because that doesn't work. Identifying as a victim does not work. It doesn't heal anything. It doesn't resolve anything. So what I've said is that even if there are some people who are born in really horrible circumstances and they have grown up in really disastrous, horrible circumstances. And so you can either choose to see that as you were victimized, like you were forced, if you want to come to the conclusion that some evil being took you and forced you, and you're forced to reincarnate in this horrible world. You can do that, but you're a victim. It means that you have no power. You have no power and you have no say, and you are a complete victim of the whims of some god or some demon or some, matrix or something like that. Do you want to live that way? Does that sound appealing to you? In the short term, it helps if what you want is to have attention for feeling like a victim. But it doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't serve anything. You don't get any healing out of it. So what I say is what I believe, which is that your soul, in between lives, lives in this really beautiful. Your soul is, in fact, even in here right now, your soul is in bliss. It is in infinite bliss. And your soul chooses to have experiences. And so the challenges that come from these painful experiences, when you overcome those challenges, your soul has a new experience and it grows and it benefits from that. So that means that it was your choice. So that's all I'm saying. I'm sorry that you're in so much pain. Do you want that to change? Because if you want to change that, it has to start with taking full responsibility for your existence, including the parents that you chose to be born to. If you don't want to do that, and there's plenty of other places you can go, there's plenty of other belief systems that will tell you that false beings of light force you to come here so that they can chew on your entrails, and and you'll feel justified. You'll feel as though somebody sees your pain and how much of a victim you are. But when somebody like me comes along and says, well, if you want, you can heal from that and you can have the power to choose whatever life you want, you're going to end up getting pissed off at me because you don't want the power to change. You want to stay angry. That's why you're so aggressive and so abusive with me. Instead of asking an honest question, you have to turn it into, some kind of a, like I'm like in the under some lamps in the police station. I'm being interrogated. You said this and you said that. I'm like I'm in a courtroom, and you're going to take everything I said and you're going to twist it around. You're going to say, you said this and you said that, and it's like, fuck, dude, relax. I'm just trying to help people. If what I'm saying doesn't help you, there's plenty of places to go. You don't have to waste your time on my channel. But if you want something different, I've already told you on this channel and on the other channel that you're talking about. I've already told you. I've told you what to do, but you have to go do it. If you don't do it, you won't get any of the benefits of it. And then obviously I won't have any interest in listening to you complain or get mad at me because I'm not telling you what you want to hear. All right, let's see what else. So, Arjuna, I'm not doing this with you. Arguing with me is not something I want to do. So I'm obviously the wrong teacher for you. You don't seem to like anything I say. You want to just keep arguing with me. And so we might as well just say goodbye. So I wish you all the best. And I hope you find the channel and the teacher that helps you the most. All right, what else? Thunderous Staves Rangel. Question. Could you describe what a heart-mind connection feels like to you? Well, the heart-mind, as you know, it sounds different than what it is. For those of you who have been on my, who have subscribed to the 90-day Warrior 90-day challenge, for those of you who have subscribed and you've done the practices, you know what I'm talking about when I say it sounds different. It feels different than it sounds, right? Heart mind sounds like this sort of happy, new agey place where, hippies go, right? And the heart mind, that's not what it is. It happens to be the heart, and it's the heart mind in that this is where the emotions reside. When you tap in energetically into the heart mind, then what does happen is that you will feel an expansion of positive feelings, love. But again, here's how the heart mind works. You've got your soul right here in the middle. Your soul is an infinite point of light. It's not part of this dimension whatsoever. It is not three-dimensional. And so in order to allow it to interact in three dimensions, it has to be encased in the most powerful energy in the universe, which is lightning. So this lightning is bouncing around, encasing the soul. Now, we normally don't have access to this. It stays encased, self-encased. It's right here, and it's called the heart mind. But what it does is it protects the heart as well as the soul from emotional damage. So when somebody hurts you, somebody abuses you, somebody betrays you, somebody rejects you, some disappointment, what ends up happening is that a wound goes to the heart, but the heart mind, the lightning energy traps it. It's like a shield. It'll trap the wound right there. So it doesn't mean that you don't feel it. You do. This is, the guy that I just said goodbye to, or I don't know if it was a guy or a girl. The person that I just said goodbye to is a good example. That's obviously somebody who's been deeply damaged and deeply hurt. And they're obviously feeling it. Now, this person hasn't dealt with it, hasn't fully worked through the pain, but they're still feeling it. So what ends up happening is these wounds sort of pile up onto the heart mind. And so you have all of these wounds that your heart mind is trying to keep at bay from your emotions and from your soul. And so we were never meant to live like that. We were never meant to not deal with our wounds. And it's unnatural. Again, like I said about the other guy, I sensed a lot of intellectualism. There wasn't any feelings. It was all his intellect. And I could tell that was because, we learn how to use our intellect to avoid our feelings. So, I forgot what I was saying. So what we're designed to do is that when we're hurt, we're designed to then go and talk about those things, either to the person that hurt us or to somebody that we care about and trust or something. We're meant to talk it out and feel it, work through it, cry it out, whatever. Like in some parts of the world, it's getting less and less like this, but in some parts of the world, when somebody dies, they mourn for 40 days. Like people will wail and cry for 40 days. You walk past their house, they're wailing and they're crying. 40 days. And that's a really healthy thing to do. I mean, having lost, loved ones, I know it's just horrible. Um, so, you're supposed to let all that stuff out and work through it so you don't have this wound in your heart mind, blocking you from your soul or blocking you from that energy. So when we do this work, we end up stimulating that lightning energy. And instead of it being self-contained, when we do this Qigong here, it ends up being released outward. So once it releases outward, we have no choice because those wounds then get released. They're no longer in a stasis mode. They get released into our emotional awareness. And so this is why, when I, especially the Mao Shan stuff, when I, before I started teaching that on here, I would sit people down and I would interview them. And I would explain to them that, listen, this stuff is very powerful, but you're going to feel this power flow through you, but you're also probably going to have to deal with all kinds of internal stuff you've never even thought about. People go, oh, no, that's fine. I've done a lot of shadow work and I blah, blah. I'm like, I'm just, okay. No, I have that. And yeah, 3 weeks later, they're nowhere to be found. They can't even get out of bed. One guy couldn't even get out of bed. He slept for 2 days because he's unconscious, wouldn't let him come to class. That's how, how much pain he must have had in his heart mind. His unconscious said, nope, we're not doing that. So answering your question, what does a heart-mind connection feel like to me? Once I've done the work and released the pain, it's just this feeling of fulfillment and contentment, not just emotional, but there's this energetic feeling. Like it's, people have to learn how to get used to it. Like if I start teaching the 5-element spirit fighting, which it looks like I may start doing in person, people are going to have to learn how to get comfortable being in this state of emptiness. But when you get into this state of emptiness, at first it feels like you're really vulnerable. And then you find out that in that state of ultimate vulnerability, you're actually hooked up to everything. Like you could walk through walls. And the way to keep that is to be in that neutral state. It's a very Zen-like state, except for the fact that you've got all this power coming out of your hands like lightning bolts. So it's a really strange sort of scenario. It's very much like Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan in this movie here, he's very relaxed and but he's got all this power, that he can release. It's very much like that. Let's see what else. What else? So, Creative Virgo, you've been on the channel how long? I like to see honest feeling in all caps. Why is this hard to remember? Because if I don't see that, there's a good chance I won't see your question or your feeling. It's in your best interest to follow my instructions, please. You say, honest feeling, I hope. Well, okay, we'll find out. I liken working with you is like a raw stone being tumbled out smooth to reveal facets or shimmer. Initially, ouch, but stay with it to remove impurities. That is my analogy. Well, I acknowledge that and I appreciate that. I wouldn't say that's an honest feeling. It's more like, so a feeling isn't an experience. You just described an experience. A feeling is less complicated than that. A feeling is, I'm frightened, I'm angry, I'm grateful, I'm sad, I feel loving, whatever. That's the kind of feelings that I want. But I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate that you're having. It sounds like a liberating experience. If that's accurate, then that sounds like it's a good experience. So I appreciate that you're having that. Zaralath question: is there a cardio workout you recommend for this heart energy practice? No, Zaralath makes me want to ask you: have you done any of it? Have you? Are you a are you a subscriber to the Warrior 90 Day? Because we do a lot of things in there which would be considered aerobic. Some of the breath exercises and stuff I have you do could be considered aerobic, but I don't know. That's a whole different thing to me. I guess if I were to say something, surfing is good because you're lying flat and you're arching your back, which is opening your heart center, and you're paddling, that's the closest thing I can say. But no, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just, to answer your question, that's a separate deal. Cardiac workout is a separate deal. Catherine Lopez question: how can I be so happy and positive one day doing my spiritual work and the next day drop into depression? I don't know. I would need more information than that. Did that happen to you recently? I mean, if I'm honest, I would need to have a session with you. I would need to be talking with you on the phone, and I would need to ask you a ton of questions to find out what caused that. But I would recommend finding somebody to talk to. It doesn't sound like a good scenario. And I believe that can happen. I've experienced that a lot lately. I mean, the past 6 months for me has been hugely emotionally devastating in so many different ways. And I went from being on top of the world, and I've crashed numerous times. And this COVID was one, I crashed through another floor. It's like it just kept on crashing. I'm hoping I'm done now. I'm hoping I can start climbing out of all this. So, this is a tough period of time. I don't think I'm the only person having a tough time right now. I think there's a lot of people having a lot of difficulties and a lot of, I think that's why it's really important. And doing this work, I would love to see everybody subscribe to the Warrior 90 Day Challenge and do it. I would love to see that. I'm gonna keep doing, as Thunder calls it, doing Thunder Church or whatever it is, where we do these rituals together. We do chants and we do rituals together. I'm going to start doing more and more of those because it's so many of us are so isolated that we need to be able to connect, and we need to be able to, this is a tough time. And I can't even imagine what it must be like for some people. I mean, I'm having a tough time. I'm not. I really need to start reaching out and making some connections. Let's see what else. Thunderous Dave's Rangel, honest feeling. After our last session and facing the difficulty I was dealing with, I felt an extreme sense of power and bliss. Helped me see the potential in these challenges in a whole different way. That's awesome. It makes me happy to hear that, Thundra. Creative Virgo, honest feeling. Thank you for putting it in all caps. Thank you for that. As scary as it is, this work, owning up feels terrifying at first, yet gets better. Yes. I have the same experience myself. Christina Boyer, honest feeling. I feel a lot of joy, and I am grateful because of your teachings. Many times you confronted my victim mentality in the past. I cried, and that was needed. I appreciate your honesty. Well, I sure hope I didn't make you cry. Um, I don't. I don't. I hope I don't make people cry. I know that I can be challenging, but first off, I'm really grateful that you're grateful, and it sounds like whatever your experience was, that it's been helpful for you, and that I really am here to help. I really. It's the only thing that gives me any purpose is the thought. I mean, the two things is on a selfish note, I just want to surf and enjoy, I wish I could go back to Australia because I liked it so much better than I do here. But I just want to find my little surfing, happy little surf, tropical surf zone happiness. And outside of that, I want to help. I want to make sure that when I leave this life, that I've done everything that I can to be helpful. But I got to first start by making me happy, and then helping others. So I'm glad that was helpful. Let's see. I'm working out regularly. Zeralath says, I figured it would benefit if I ever signed up. I mean, if you ever signed up for the Lightning Qigong, yeah, that's what I meant. It sounds like if you're saying you're not subscribed, that's what I was saying. It sounds like you haven't subscribed. But no, you don't need to do anything to get prepared for that. I purposefully made it so that everybody could do it and experience it and get something out of it. But good for you that you're working out. I want to get back in the gym myself. I've been out of the gym for 10 days, and I'm not happy when I don't go to the gym regularly. All right, I don't see any more questions. So are we done for the day? I guess we're done for the day. Yeah. All right, guys. If you haven't already, I strongly invite you. I heartily invite you to come and subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Challenge and learn what other people are talking about. And of course, if you want to get the elite version of it, you can go to maushan.thunderwizard.com. And I do think this is, in my opinion, this is probably the most important work anybody can do right now in these times. I think this is the most potent and important technology that there is. Let's see. Honest Feeling came up. Olivia Rackley says, I keep trying to memorize the Maushan stuff, but it is incredibly difficult for me to do this distance apprenticeship. I feel like I have zero attention span no matter how many hours. Well, don't beat yourself up. You are right. It can be challenging. And, I've been telling you this from the beginning. You're too hard on yourself. This isn't about winning any contests. It's not about passing any tests or any quizzes. It's just about, even if you just follow along with me. Every time you do it, just play the video and follow along with me and get something out of it. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you've got me there doing it in front of you. You can just follow me every time. And you don't have to ever memorize it. But Olivia, I really wish I could just put some energy on you or something so that you would stop beating yourself up. You're so hard on yourself. Just be kind to yourself. Just love yourself. That's probably part of the reason why you're having a hard time memorizing it, because you're judging yourself. Every microsecond you're judging yourself about something, and you can't memorize when you're doing that. You have to be able to stay in the moment. And the other thing is it's it's probably challenging you on an emotional level, because if what I've experienced of you is accurate, you probably don't really get a real opportunity to just have your emotions, because you're so, you beat yourself up so much. You're just constantly beating the crap out of yourself. So that tells me that your head is going all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time, won't stop. So that's probably another reason why, is because this, when you do this, it's going to want to slow you down and put you in the state of being empty. And that's probably frightening for you, because you've learned to constantly think, and the judgment came from your parents. Your parents judged you. Your parents shamed you as a kid. And so you learned, in order to survive, you have to judge yourself before other people do. So you're going to judge yourself before I'm judging you. That's why you think I'm going to judge you, which of course I'm not. So, yeah. In any case, just keep doing it. Like I said, you don't have to memorize it. Just press play and do it with me every single time. And you never have to worry about memorizing it. How's that? Let me get rid of that spam. Okay, and let's see, what else? Olivia Rackley, question. Could we do it together on a webcam the first time? Could we do it together? Well, that's what happens when you purchase the Maoshan 5 elements. You get 2 1-hour sessions with me per element, and that's what we do. So yes, to answer your question, yeah, we'll do it together. It's not like I'm going to be sitting back here watching you and not doing anything. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it with you. So, yeah, we can do that. All right, that's it for me, guys. I hope you're doing well. Feeling better today than I was yesterday. Hopefully, if I keep feeling better, I should be 100% here pretty quick. I got to tell you, man, COVID is no joke. COVID is no joke. Based on the amount of medications that I was taking to fight COVID, and how sick I got, that tells me something. It tells me that this thing's no joke. So take care of yourselves and make sure that you go to my other places and do what you can. My other channels, platforms. Go to my other platforms and see what you can do to protect yourself. If I had it to do over again, there's a lot of stuff there's a few things I would have done differently. But I guess now I'm immune, so it doesn't matter. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'll see you next time I see you. Take care of yourselves. Be good to yourselves. And stay safe.